The NFL draft is getting closer. The pressure is building, and Chicago Bears fans are starting to sound off on who their favorite prospects are in this draft. In today's episode, we're going to talk about some of the best day two safeties in the draft for the Chicago Bears and why one edge that could go later on in this draft actually may be perfect for the Chicago Bears. We're going to discuss all that, plus dive into the mailbag right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. So one of the things we've been talking a lot about is what position the Chicago Bears are going to go after in the first round of this draft, right? They could go after edge, which is one of our biggest needs. They could even go after defensive tackles, which is another one of our biggest needs in this draft period with that first round pick. But as we've known, and as I've talked about many times before, Ryan Poles doesn't always go the expected position early on in the draft. He does review it and kind of look at the talent. Now, one of the best talents in this draft that could be there at number 25 for the Chicago Bears is Emmanuel McNeill-Warren, one of the best safeties in this draft. Go along with Thieneman as well. And there's a likelihood that the Chicago Bears could very well go safety in the first round of this draft. Now, it doesn't mean that it's for sure. You know, it depends on how the draft board works out. With trades happen, who goes early. There could be some players that are drafted early that some teams could reach on and go, and that could throw off the draft board. And that's why you always have to be prepared, right? Which Ryan Poles typically is in the draft. Look at how he rebounded after the running back position last year. And then we got Kyle Monangai, which actually ended up being pretty damn good for the Chicago Bears, right? So in the 2026 draft, there's no doubt about it that Emmanuel McNeill-Warren is the day one prospect in the safety. The Bears are going to go safety day one. He's the one. He's a phenomenal fit for Dennis Allen's defense. It makes so much sense. Him and Kobe Bryant as your safety, core there, your starting safeties could do wonders for the Chicago Bears in both coverage, run blitzing, pass blitzing, all that type of stuff. Just inside the box, outside the box, all the type of versatility we've seen from Dennis Allen's defense. With Kevin Byard and with Jaquan Brisker, they can do those same exact things with Kobe Bryant and potentially with Emmanuel McNeill-Warren. So would not be surprised if that ends up being the pick for the Chicago Bears. But as we did yesterday with the safeties, I want to look at some of the other we did yesterday with the edges. I want to look at some of the other safeties in this draft, not named Emmanuel McNeill-Warren, that the Chicago Bears could very well target. The number one, the next guy I'm going to bring up, the first guy I'm going to bring up, I should say, is Kamari Ramsey, the safety out of USC. 6 foot, 205 pounds. This guy was a junior last season as well. He had 27 total tackles last year. He's had no interceptions last year, but 2 interceptions over the course of his NFL career. His collegiate career. 2 sacks over the course of his collegiate career as well. 11 passes deflected. Also, this guy that I see being a schematic fit for Dennis Allen's defense, no doubt about it, right? You're trying to find somebody who has kind of the mode of leadership qualities as well. And Kamari has that. He's a versatile prospect. He can play multiple positions as well. He's even played slid into slot corner as well. And we know with Dennis Allen's defense, positional versatility and schematic fit is going to be things that's right there. He can fit right next to Kobe Bryant as well. The 6 foot guy, the 202 pounds that he has really good size and strength combination as well. And I think that's really good for him. He can go toe-to-toe with tight ends, which is really good also with that one. And he's solid in the run game as well, right? So I think when you look at him, he last year with the Trojans, he showed exactly what he can be as a pure tackle. He can defend the run. He's tough. He has some really good run recognition as well when you look at all of that. So when you watch the tape on Ramsey, you see a guy that just has so much of the skill set and raw talent that Dennis Allen wants to add to that defense, the speed, the versatility, all that type of stuff, and a player that I would definitely be interested in if I'm the Chicago Bears. Next up, Zakee Wheatley out of Penn State. This is another guy, 6'2", 200 pounds as well. Another guy, versatility. That's the thing you're going to look at with all of these guys is versatility. 74 tackles last year with Penn State, 1 pass deflected as well. 6 interceptions over the course of his collegiate career, 1 sack, 6 passes deflected as well. This is another guy, the inside the box, outside the box, the versatility that you have there. That's really what you're looking at. And I don't expect Dennis Allen to want to go away from that, right? This is a kid that could go in rounds 2 or 3. So the Chicago Bears would have 2 second-round picks and a third-round pick. They could decide to do something there with it. The 6'3" size that he has there is legitimate. As people say, you can't teach size. Wheatley has all the physical tools to be a starter in the NFL, right? He's improved in coverage every year in college, which I think is a really good there. He showed an ability to understand how to plug gaps in the run game as well. And he's starting to really show high football IQ as far as run recognition, identifying plays, those type of things. And those instincts from the safety position is exactly really what you want for your team. You want those instincts to be there. You want them to be loud. And so it's a guy that I think that, sometimes I think he actually can benefit from slowing down a little bit more and processing things. He's a smart player. The instincts, though, they take over with him. And I do think he's going to be a guy that, as the mental part of the game and learning how to be a little bit more calculated, you can get a better player out of it as well. And having a coaches here that the Bears have in the secondary, having Dennis Allen, those are going to do wonders for a guy like this who's going to need to work a little bit on that. But the physical tools are all there. The instincts are there, right? Finding the best balance between that is really going to be there. Now, I don't know if this guy's ready. He's going to be ready to start day one, but you can develop him into a starter for the Chicago Bears. I really do think that and believe that. And as you develop him into a starter, what you have there could be really good for your football team. So I really like that. I think he has the right level of, like I said, the instincts, the IQ, those two things as they merge and kind of overlap a little bit more. That's when you're going to see the best parts of Wheatley. And then another guy that I have brought up on the show before, A.J. Haulcy. You guys know I really love this guy as a prospect. Senior, 6 foot, 220 pounds as well. 10 interceptions over the course of his collegiate career. 3 last season, 5 years with Houston the season before that. A total of 346 tackles over 4 years in college. 17 passes deflected as well. 4 forced fumbles. No sacks for him at all when it comes down to the statistics of what he's brought in college. But this is a guy that I just look at and I say, hey, man, I think he is the best option other than McNeil Warren for what the Chicago Bears are looking for. Day 2, I think the skill set that he has is all over the place in a good way, right? He would be fun to watch. I would not be surprised if A.J. Haulcy ends up turning into some Chicago Bears fans' favorites if he ends up being drafted here. He's one of those defensive backs that he gets his hands dirty. He has leadership, the mentality part of the game. He has that alpha type mentality that he wants to be the best on there. He's a physical enforcer throughout all of that, but he also has the ball skills, and that's what you really want to look at. I think that he has ball skills nearly of a cornerback, and if you have that in the safety position, listen, you already saw what he did in the draft combine. He ran through that draft combine crazily, right? And I think that Haulcy, for a lot of things, he can be a guy that can still get a lot of interceptions. We know that we don't want takeaways to be as big of our identity as last year, but this is a guy that can get a lot of interceptions, I think, year in and year out, right? 12 pass breakups his last 2 years in LSU alone, 8 interceptions, 162 combined tackles. This guy brings so much of what we potentially want and what we're missing now at the safety position with Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker being gone, that A.J. Haulcy is a guy that I hope if we don't go McNeil Warren, I hope that we go A.J. Haulcy. I think that he has so much potential to just come into this team and bring exactly what we're missing for this team. And if he does that, that's exactly what we need in the draft. So let me know what you guys think, though. If there are any other safety prospects that you think the Chicago Bears should be looking at in this draft, these are the 3 other than, of course, what we've talked about that I think would make the most sense for the Chicago Bears. And we just got to go out there and see what's going to happen with this team. But I really love the prospects of safety in this draft. And that's probably why Ryan Poles did not feel like he needed to bring in another veteran safety, because there are some really good safeties in this draft that I think could start day 1 for the Chicago Bears. Some that I think could be more long-term projects to turn into starters, but some that I definitely think are going to be day 1 starters in the NFL, and that's exactly what the Chicago Bears are looking for. They have a number of positions they got to find starters for, and we'll see if any of these guys end up getting their name called by the Chicago Bears. But while we're talking about underrated prospects in the draft, I want to talk about one at the edge that we have not talked a lot about that popped up on my radar because of an article. Went in and looked at some tape, looked at some things that he brings to the table and stuff like that, and is turned into somebody I won't say is necessarily one of my favorites, but is somebody that I do think could be a underrated acquisition in the draft for the Chicago Bears if they decided to go that way, and that's Dani Dennis-Sutton out of Penn State, 6'5", 265 pounds. Again, that size makeup that we know Dennis Allen likes on that defensive line. This is a guy that had 8.5 sacks each of the last 2 years at Penn State. 23.5 sacks over 4 years at Penn State as well. Never had less than 3 sacks. With that being said, he even has 2 interceptions, 8 passes deflected also, 127 tackles over the course of his collegiate career. Dani Dennis-Sutton. Go and look at this guy. I'm telling you, you would fall in love with the prospect of what he can bring here to the Chicago Bears. Like when you just look at motor, when you look at the relentlessness that you need on that defensive line, that's the guy. He's so versatile in what he can do as well. He checks almost every box with strength against the run, solid pass rusher as well. Everything as far as the scheme that Dennis Allen wants to bring here, Dani Dennis-Sutton fits into that perfectly, right? I do think also at the NFL Draft Combine, you look at what he did as far as from an athletic standpoint. The 3-cone drill in under 7 seconds that he had for his size at 265 pounds, a relentless prospect there for the Chicago Bears. So I think this is a guy that comes in. He's a solid run defender, going to be a solid pass rush guy as well. That's what the Chicago Bears need. If the Bears do go safety in round 1, which I do think is a high probability, getting Dani Dennis-Sutton later on in this draft, which is projected to be a day 2 pick, he can end up being exactly what the Chicago Bears need in day 2. And I think he can bring a lot of that relentlessness, like I said, that the Chicago Bears need. But let me know what you guys think on those 2 things down below. With that said, it is Friday. That means it is mailbag day. Let's get into these voicemails, man. This one's from CL.
Yo, it's your boy out West CL, calling checking in. I'm just watching one of you guys' podcasts talking about the Joey Bosa. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you guys. Nah, don't bring him on. It's not even worth it. He don't stay healthy. I mean, unless he gets going to be a rotational piece and he going for a little money, yeah. But with this draft, I also got to agree with you guys with we need some impact players that's coming in that's going to be immediately starting. Hopefully at the defensive end, the linebacker position, and at the safety position. The edge rusher, I can see them getting probably in the second round, maybe the first, or the DT first in the defensive end in the second round. I'm still high on this kid out of Arkansas on the running back position. If he there in the third round, knowing me, I would get him because he's tough. I mean, Mike Washington Jr. is a dog. I think he will be perfect for our offense. And I got one question, though. Who do you guys think will be the next 1,000-yard receiver for the Chicago Bears? All I got for you guys today is Southwest CL. Continue doing y'all thing, man. Black media, baby. I see y'all.
Yeah, I'm good on Joey Bosa. I think we said that during that episode. I think we brought that clear. I'm good on Joey Bosa. Like, no offense to him, but I think when you look at some of the edges available in this draft, like, why go after a veteran that seems to be on the downskirt? Like, no doubt, I would not be surprised if Joey Bosa has a really good season this year. But I just think where the Bears are right now, with the money that Joey Bosa is probably going to want, that money's better allocated going after a younger prospect that can be here more, has really good upside. And, we'll see. And that's what I think is going to happen here. So I agree with you on that one. I think we need to find day 1 starters in this draft for sure. There's no doubt about that. We have to find day 1 starters for the defense and for Dennis Allen because of the holes that's left and the lack of money that we have as well. Those things all combined, that leads you to a place where you have to rely on the draft to be able to improve your team. And let's see if the Bears can do that. As far as the the wide receiver question, great question. I think Luther Burden is the one that I'd bet on to be the next 1,000-yard receiver. And the reason why I say that is not that I'm down on Rome. Some people seem to be down on Rome. I'm not down on Rome with Dunze at all. I think just Luther's going to line up at the slot as well and have a lot of those mismatches. And when you look at Ben Johnson's offense, that slot receiver, the guy that lines up in the slot very often, usually has some of the highest stats and usage. So that's why I'd say Luther Burden there, but great question. All right, let's get into this next voicemail, man. This one's from Greedy.
Yo, this is Greedy, man. I'm coming with my mock draft 2.0, man. Shout out to y'all, the Chicago Bears Central, man. With the 25th pick, I got Dylan Thielemann out of Oregon at my 25th pick. For my 57th pick, I got Christian Miller out of Georgia, a run-stopping defensive lineman. Shocking the world at the 60th pick. I'm taking Chris Brazil out of Tennessee. 6'4" wide receiver, run a 4.3. Most ability, deep threat. As my 89th pick, I'm taking Romello Height out of Texas Tech. 10-sack edge rusher. At 129th pick, I'm taking Jake Slaughter out of Florida. Center. At my 239th pick, I'm taking Emil Wagner out of Notre Dame. At my 241 pick, I'm taking Nadine Tucker out of Western Michigan. Edge. Shout out to y'all, the Chicago Bears Central, man. Bear down, baby. Let me know what y'all think of that mock right there, man. Of them players, man. And if you think any of them players would be a good fit for the Chicago Bears. This greedy man, I'm out.
Thieneman would be such a good selection for the Chicago Bears. There's no doubt about it. I think that would be such a really, really damn good selection for this Bears team, man. I don't hate the Christian Miller acquisition at all. I don't know if the Bears go wide receiver as early as what you have them going. I do think they draft a wide receiver in this draft. I don't know where they're going to do it. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't know if they'll go as high as you have them going wide receiver, but they very well could. I could be wrong on that, and you could be absolutely right? I love the Romello Height pick. Like when I talked about him the other day on the episode the other day, I was so impressed by his tape and what he brings to the table as far as relentlessness and things like that. I think he would be a great acquisition for the Bears. I think overall, like, your mock is solid, right? And you know, everybody's mock has its own level of validity and stuff like that. But I think overall, what I think is highlighted from all the mocks, between the mocks that we've done here at Chicago Bears Central, the mocks that you guys do, mocks that the professional draft guys do, is that it just shows that there's a lot of versatility in this draft, and the Bears could walk away with a lot of exactly what they need in this draft, and it just makes sense for them. This is a draft that really, it seems like Ryan Poles has set himself up for success, and that is the thing that I'm really proud of, is that it seems like we're set up for success in this draft. We just got to go out there and execute it. All right, let's get into this next voicemail, man. This one's from Bobby.
What's good, y'all, man? It's Domino, man, down here in Texas. Listen, man, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to all these different people with these theories about what the Bears are going to do in the draft and what they would do and what they think the Bears should do. I don't know. I guess I got my own too, but it all just seems pretty idiotic to me the way people think. Like, people say, well, there's no reason to think about a running back in this draft. And I'm like, you know, if you draft a running back every year, then you never have to sign a running back. You know what I'm saying? Because if you got 4 running backs, every year you draft a running back, you can let the guy who's on his 5th year, I don't care how good he is, you can let him walk. Because, see, the thing about Ben Johnson's offense is its complexity. You know, that's why they brought back Braxton Jones. If somebody's only going to be here for 1 year, it might as well be Braxton Jones. It might as well be Theo Benedict. They might as well battle it out. In fact, my personal thought process is Braxton Jones is actually going to take over as Joe Thuney's backup at left guard. That's my guess. I don't think he's actually there to be a tackle. He's there to be the last tackle in case all the rest of them get injured. But I think he's going to learn footwork, technique behind Joe Thuney. He's going to be Joe Thuney's backup all year long. And maybe he'll graduate to being a decent left tackle in the league here or someplace else. But the Bears don't have to pay him. They give him $5 million, get him back for 1 more year. They're not drafting a left tackle early, but they might draft a tackle late. They're definitely going to be needing safeties, edges, and a defensive tackle at some point, unless Dio does go the injury route. It doesn't sound like he's going the injury route anymore. So they got a lot of defensive tackles. They're going to be rotating dudes all day. They're going to get some big bodies, undrafted free agents. They're probably going to take a corner at some point, 2 in the first 4 rounds. To me, it's really simple, you know. And I don't understand how anybody could think like there's no reason to draft a running back, or there's no reason, like people say there's no reason to draft a quarterback. Well, listen, if you trade Tyson Bagent, get you another 2nd round pick, hey, take a look at that. You know, you need another quarterback. And you got another 2nd round pick, so you can get that safety, the edge, the D tackle, and the corner all in the first 4 picks. and draft you a center at some point who's basically just going to be a third string center, a backup interior lineman, and your center of the future. If Bradbury struggles too much, or if he wants too much money at the end of the year, Chi-Town up, bear down.
Shout out to Bobby Diamond, who left a voicemail there. I don't think that the Bears, listen, you don't have to draft a running back every year. That's just not good, right? And I get what you're saying in that. And you do want to start replenishing some of that. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears go running back at some point in it, but they still have Deion Hankins, a guy that they were very high on, that did get hurt and stuff like that. So, with running back being one of those positions that you can get a starting level running back in almost any round in every draft, you don't have to draft one every year. Now, every couple of years, it could make some sense with that, right? I think right now the Bears are set with DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai, but they could very well want to start looking towards and preparing for that running back to be Kyle Monangai's long-term guy, because they may not pay DeAndre Swift again after this contract, right? I think thinking Braxton Jones is going to back up Tooney is wild, because a wild position change for Braxton Jones. He's shown nothing as far as the hand technique, anything needed to play guard in the NFL. So I don't see that from Braxton personally. And I think this, Bobby, and I mean this very respectfully, that you came into this saying, oh, well, I think people are just, they're overlooking this because they don't agree, where it's not your opinion. And then yours is to change Braxton Jones from tackle to guard. That doesn't make any sense. And this is what I mean by don't worry about trying to knock somebody else's thought to prop up your own. Just say yours. Because I think at this point now, you kind of showed a little bit of problematic stuff in your thinking here, right? We're not getting a second for Tyson Bagent. If the Bears got offered a second for Tyson Bagent, they take that deal, they run for the hills. If they get offered a second for Tyson, I doubt that's going to happen. I don't think a second's going to come for Tyson Bagent. If somebody was going to offer a second, that trade would have probably already went down by now. But that's my thoughts. You guys can let me know how you feel on everything down below, y'all. Man, that's going to do it for today's episode of Chicago Bears Central. And I'll tell y'all like this. This offseason, this is where things need to happen. And so I'm going to throw this one to you guys. You guys going edge or safety in the first round, or defensive tackle, defensive lineman, or safety in the first round. Let me know what you guys think on that down below. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel. You can also follow us at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, chicagobearcentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. But that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And I like to end every episode on Chi-Town up, bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.